What's up? Listen, have you been feeling like you've been put through the fire lately? I think I've definitely been feeling like I've been put through the fire lately. And hold on, let me just go live here. Okay. One of the things that the other day, okay, let me start here. The other day, I was really, just like struggling internally. And I just was like, what is happening, God? Why am I going through all of this? What is it that keeps showing up for me, that I start something and I self-sabotage? I start something and I self-sabotage. And um sorry, my dog is like jumping on, like stop. My dog I was going through something the other day where I just didn't feel, I don't know. I felt defeated, honestly. I felt defeated and I felt upset about something. And I think what was happening is, I have gone on this health journey, which I do a lot, right? Because I'm always self sabotaging. And I'm like, God, what's up with that? Like, why is it that I start something and self sabotage and then start something and self sabotage? Like, what is the deal with that? Why am I eating sugar or craving sugar when I said I was going to go completely strict on carnivore, and I do carnivore for like a week? I lose this weight and then I go back on sugar. What is happening? And as I'm praying for revelation from God to like show me what is going on, I got like sucked into a time warp and I went all the way back to like when I was a little girl and when my stepfather started um molesting me. And I remember, like, all of a sudden I'm this little girl again sitting in this yellow room. It was a kitchen. The kitchen was yellow and I was like underneath the table or next to the table, and I started eating a spoonful of sugar when that happened to me. And I realized that that is where my addiction to sugar started, because it was the only thing that brought comfort. It was the only thing that brought comfort. And I realized at that moment, I'm like, God, why are you showing me this? Like, what? Oh my God. Like, I started weeping and crying because I realized that, these terrible, self sabotaging, horrible things that we go through, or at least what I've gone through, started as a child because someone hurt me. And my addiction to sugar or eating something sweet all the time, especially if I'm like upset about something or worried or anxious or something, that's what I go to, is because that's the only thing that brought me comfort. And when God showed me that, it was almost like I was a third party, in my timeline watching this. And I saw the enemy sitting there laughing and saying, don't you, I groomed you. I groomed you for your self destruction. I groomed you. All of a sudden, I just started weeping and, just like really revealing to my husband um, the impact of what it is when somebody does something to you, that you end up destroying yourself, right? So we can sit here and blame the enemy forever. I mean, we have, the excuses to blame everybody all the time and be the victim all the time. But at some point, the enemy, then he groomed me for that. But then what I did is I then took it on as my identity and kept on hurting me. Right. So at 52 years old, I have all this weight to lose. I'm going through menopause and all these hard things. And I'm going through the fire right now. Right. And that's what made me think about the heat that transforms for this message, because I realized that our purpose and the things that we are designed to do is not going to be like a microwaved meal, but it's going to be slow roasted, right? And when God revealed to me being hurt as a child and picking up these habits and doing these things that were hurting me, that those are the kind of things that we have to really look at and say, I don't want that anymore. I want to do this. So your purpose in life is not microwaved. It is slow roasted. Right? It's going to take a lot of faith and fire and purpose so that you can then create the things that you want to create. All right? Hi, Parima. I see you um, on Instagram. Nice to see you. Right. So I wanted to ask you, like, would you ever serve an undercooked chicken? Right? Of course not, because you know it's unsafe. It would make somebody not feel well. It's not ready. It needs heat. It needs time for it to cook to the right temperature for it to happen. Right? The same thing is with your purpose. Some things cannot be rushed. Some things need fire. They need to burn a bit. They need to be refined. Some of those things need to happen in order for the dish to come out properly, right? And to bring out the real flavor and the real texture and the real whatever it is you're trying to create, and to make sure that you are at this place in your life where you are ready to be served to the world. And sometimes you go through these battles and these things, and whether it's financial or business or in your mindset or whatever that is, sometimes you have to have that slow roasted fire in order for you to develop into the person you are trying to be, so that you can then go and impact the world, right? So today, that's why I wanted to talk to you about the heat that transforms, because it's in that fire, whatever fire that you're in right now, whatever it is you're going through right now, that it might not be your breakdown, it might be your breakthrough. Right. And a lot of us, when we're going through hard things, because a lot of people are going through hard things, they think that this is what's going to take them out. But in reality, maybe this is the thing that's going to transform you into the dish, into the thing that you are supposed to be serving to the world. Right. And I was really thinking about this, because a lot of times we go through so many things in our lifetime and in our lives where we really think that, oh, this is it. This is going to hurt me. This is going to destroy me. I can't sleep. I can't do anything. All of that stuff happens. But you know what? You have a lot of skill sets, ideas, inspiration. You have a lot of things inside of you that people need. Right. So I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Right. The truth is that heat is not going to destroy you. It develops you. It's the same thing like when you're cooking a dish. I've spent over 20 years in the food industry, in leadership and business. I've been in kitchens, all of that stuff. And here's what I know: that heat, done properly, the proper amount of heat will not destroy the meal, but make it amazing. For instance, this week I have my students now creating an oxtail and goat cheese ravioli. And I made the oxtail for them, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is probably one of the best oxtails I've had. Why? It's slow roasted in the oven with wine and vegetables and broth and all this stuff. And it roasted there for about 3.5 hours. It was falling off the bone. Okay. The sauce was deepened in flavor as it reduced. The roast got, the tails got tender. All of that happened with heat and time. This is your purpose, right? Same thing. It has to be developed in the heat. It has to be roasted. It has to go through the things you have to go through in order for you to deepen in flavor as you really start to go through whatever it is you're going through. Right. But what's the problem? But today, everybody's living in this microwave world, rushing to conclusions, rushing to challenges, rushing through things and thinking that this is the way. And then they struggle with depression and anxiety and worry. And because you're rushing through it, not realizing that that moment is a moment to pause, to see what is going on here. How am I going to be deepened in my thought process, in my grit, in my tenacity, in my know-how by going through what I'm going through, right? But this microwave world, everything is at the click of a button, everything is a quick scroll, right? And then the pressure starts to arise and you start to break down emotionally because you don't realize that actually the pressure and the heat that's happening is to develop something amazing, right? And when this pressure starts to rise up, you will rise up emotionally, spiritually, financially, mentally, in all of the areas that you are trying to get to. But most people panic. Most people, they want to give in, like, forget it. Right. And this is what happened. But hey, y'all. All right. The fire is not there to burn you down. It is there to build you up. Okay, the pressures that you're going through, the stuff that's happening, and the confusions or whatever you're going through, find someone you can talk to, or be with, or connect with, or partner with, or whatever, that can help you rise up. Okay, but the heat, y'all, the heat is going to help you really deepen who you are and what you're trying to bring to the world. Now, a lot of you know that I'm a Christian, right? So there's a scripture that talks about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I believe it's Daniel 3. And it talks about that, right? When they were thrown into the furnace because they didn't want to serve another God. They only wanted to serve one God. And they threw them into the furnace. And in fact, they even said, turn up the heat, y'all, turn up the heat. And it got so hot that even when the soldiers were trying to throw them into the furnace, they themselves died of being burned because the furnace was so hot. Okay. So they were thrown into this furnace because they were trying to obey God and not this king, right? And they were thrown in there. And what happens when the king saw that they were still walking around in there? They're like, how is this possible? Now you threw three people in, but there's four, right? And when they came out, they didn't even smell like smoke. Why? That's how I believe God moves in our life. Like he walks through the fire with you and he brings out what is in you and he redefines it and he changes it and he puts you in a position where now that you have been through enough that you are ready for a promotion. Now think about this. At any job you've ever had, you've started maybe on the bottom. I like I said, I'm a chef for like 20 years, right? When I started, I was a student and a dishwasher. And then as I kept going and rising and growing and learning and rising and growing and going through the pressure. And at that time, for those of you who follow me, know I was homeless. I had no home, no nothing. And I was still going to school, still being a dishwasher, doing what I had to do. And let me tell you something, that fire that I was going through, that made me ready for promotion. Right? Because I ended up having my own businesses. I end up like leading teams. I became a director of culinary operations. Like I've done the six figures, all of that. Why? Because if you allow the pressures to happen, if you allow that fire to happen, you will not be alone in that. God will move with you and he will make you completely ready for the promotion, right? For those of you who do follow scriptures, who are people of faith, even Moses didn't discover his calling in the palace when he was in the palace, right? Where did he meet God? In a burning bush. So what fire are you in right now? And start looking at it as how that's defining you and refining you into the person that you are going to be promoted to be. This is not a punishment, y'all. Okay? What if it's your purpose? Calling your name, telling you it's time to make that dish, to create that thing that you want to create and put out in the world, right? I really believe like there's three types of fires, three types of purpose forging heat in our lives. So I want to break those down real quick. One of them, I believe, is a searing heat. I think about searing when I'm teaching these students about fast, intense, like put it in, you're going to sear it. You're going to hear, it's going to like start burning the flesh of that meat. It's going to sear and it's going to start holding in the juices, right? This is life altering for when we're applying this to our lives. This is when God grabs your attention and says, it's time. Let's go, right? This is a searing heat. It's fast, it's intense, it's life altering. Let's do it. Right. And then I think about simmering heat. Right. So basically the formation, it's a slow burn. It's simmering. Right. Things are in a liquid or in an oil and it's just simmering in there. It's a slow burn. Right. Maybe you're not public yet. Right. Maybe you're not out there all over the place yet. Maybe you're in a crock pot. Okay. This is where God can start forming your character and what it is you're trying to bring to the world. This is where he starts strengthening your faith, deepening your voice, giving you knowledge, giving you ways to speak and show up. This is where you start simmering with God, right? That slow burn. Now, remember, there's times where you just got to go. That's that searing heat. Fast, go, intense, life altering. Let's go. Right? Then when you're simmering, you're just on a slow burn. You know what? I really want to develop this right. I really want to do this right. I want to get out there when I know that I am ready and when God has built my character and I'm strengthened in my faith and I really have my voice and I know what I want to say. That's what that is, right? And then there's the serving heat. It's that send off. That's when you've been tested. You've been redefined. You've been completely stripped of what you thought was the idea, right? And it's time now to plate the purpose. It's time for you to start serving your assignment, your calling, your food, your whatever to others. Okay? It is time because there are so many things in our life that we just listen to too many people in the world that tells us how to act, when to act, who to act with, what we can bring out to the world, what we can do, all that kind of nonsense. But the truth of the matter is no matter what you're going through right now, you are in a season where you are being developed, not broken, developed. And there are hard things that we go through in life. I totally get it because I've been there. Okay. But I want you to anchor yourself, anchor your faith. It's in Romans. I think I even have it written somewhere around here where it says, we shout our praise even when we're hemmed in with trouble. Okay. Because we know how trouble develops passionate patience in us. And that patient then forges tempered steel of virtue, right? Because we are not fragile. All right. We are not fragile. We are forged in the fire, right? And so a lot of us feel like I can't do it anymore. I'm so stressed. I can't anymore. But you can and you will, and you're going to rise up from that. Okay. So just remember that this heat that you're feeling for this kitchen table wisdom, if you will, this is episode 2. The heat that transforms you is on purpose for a purpose. Okay. You are not to be a microwaved mentality type person. You are supposed to be somebody who is really going to bring out the flavor of what it is you are created to be. And you can't bring out the flavor if you're just quickly microwaved. Okay. As you know, microwaves destroy the nutrients and flavors in food, but not if you're really cooking on the right heat. Right. So, I hope this has resonated with you or spoken to you in some way. And if you want to reach out to me and really think about what is it that I want to put out in the world? How is it that I want to show up? What is it that I want to do? I have a really quick quiz that you can take, especially if you're a woman that's purpose driven, that will kind of not kind of will really kind of lead you into a way of who are you? Are you a purpose driven person? Are you a strategic person? Are you a shepherd? Who are you? I want you to really take that quiz. It's completely free, right? But at least it'll speak to you and you can see, wow, okay, yeah, I resonate with that because I've already given it to, I think it's 100 women and all of them are like, oh my gosh, that was spot on. So now I think it's developed enough that all of you can try it as well. Right? I'm also coming out with Purpose by Design. It's going to be only a 90-day coaching experience to help women like you who are purpose-driven women to really start getting into their calling instead of hiding, okay? And getting into alignment what it is that they want to do. So we're going to clarify your God-given niche. We're going to build your offer out there, whatever it is you're trying to do. We're going to heal from any fear or imposter syndrome or things that are holding you back. And we're going to step fully into the business that you are feeling you are called by divine design. Okay. So no more skipping steps, no more trying to get everything for, this person and the good it's for this person and get it for that person. And then you're confused and don't know what you're supposed to do. It's time to walk in what God has already wrote on your life and on your heart. Okay. Now, if you are really ready, seriously, you really are ready to talk about it. It's not going to be a really huge investment at all because I've reduced it to a ridiculous amount. Okay. Then DM me the word purpose and I'm going to send you the details. All right. I only want women who are aligned with this purpose. All right. So next week, I think what I'm going to talk about is what is in your pantry. Okay. So we're going to talk about using what you already have in you, in your house, in your vessel. Right. So I want to make sure that you're here for that. I'll probably try to come on the same time, same place next week. But please go ahead and leave me comments and questions. You guys are always amazing at that. I love you so much. If you need to know more, again, comment the word purpose. I'll try to have my team look at wherever that is, and I will reach out to you. Also, if you want to email me, it's info@ninaperez.com. My website is getting revamped, but it's ninaperez.com if you need me. The podcast is straight talk, no sugar added. All right. I love you guys so much. I'm going to end it here and move on to my next call. Talk to you soon. Bye.